The Roush 1.5-inch front suspension lift kit with the Fox 2.0 shocks is perfect for the 2017 and newer F-250 owner who's looking to give their truck a better stance and improve its driving dynamics. This kit is going to give you additional height in the front end, level out the stance of your truck, and make it ride and handle even better than it did from the factory. At its core, this is a 1.5-inch front lift. With that additional height, you will be able to fit up to 33 by 12.5-inch tires on your truck. Now, if you do have a wide wheel with a really high offset, you might need to do a little bit of trimming, but 33 by 12.5s will fit in most cases without rubbing or other clearance issues. Helping give you that front end lift are a new set of springs. These are of course going to be taller than your factory springs and thus will help the truck's front end sit up a bit higher, hence that extra height. That means this will eliminate the forward brake these trucks come with in their factory form, so your truck will sit nice and even front to back. The springs are of course designed and engineered with that height and ride comfort in mind, so it's not going to make for a punishing ride. Now, also included in the kit are a set of venerable Fox 2.0 performance shocks. You get a full front and rear set, and these are also designed specifically for lifted trucks. Now, the goal here was to improve ride quality and handling, and Fox does that better than most. These are monotube shocks, and they provide some seriously impressive damping and rebound characteristics, so they're going to be well behaved both on and off-road. Now, being monotubes, you can expect that the ride quality on-road will end up being a bit stiffer than your stock setup, but it won't be punishing by any means. And that does mean improvements in the handling of your truck. It's going to have less body roll and generally feel more planted and stable out on the road. Your factory towing capability is maintained as well, so you don't lose any of that. And in fact, your truck will likely feel more stable with a trailer behind it as well. The Fox 2.0s offer improved cooling capacity with specific valving to eliminate cavitation or aeration or bubbling in the fluid, and that's going to help maximize performance. So you get the travel and rebound that you need out on the trails with a stable, compliant ride on the streets. Now, you might have noticed there is a fifth shock on this table, and you might be thinking, well, why is that? That's because in this kit, you also get a Fox 2.0 steering stabilizer. This is an important thing to consider when you lift your truck, and especially because this is going to provide a lot more performance. Having additional height means that your steering geometry in the front end can change, especially with a solid axle truck like these Super Duties are. And this is basically a Fox 2.0 shock. It just goes on your steering rack instead. So you're going to get all that same good stuff that you find in the shocks on the actual truck and suspension itself, only this is going to apply to your steering. So it's going to make the steering nice and smooth. You're not going to get a ton of rebound or kickback, and you can also adjust this too if you need it to be a little more or less stiff, because there's a Schrader valve down here on the end. So you're going to have a really nice complete setup, and your truck is going to drive super nice on the road or on the trail too, and it's going to make it a little bit more capable and just that much cooler. The springs are made from cold wound steel, meaning that the material hasn't been heated and subsequently weakened. They also feature this nice gray powder coating over top to protect the steel underneath from corrosion. The shocks feature a 2-inch extruded 6061 T6 aluminum body, both on the fronts and the rears. You've got a 5/8-inch hardened chrome-plated heat-treated alloy shaft, plus those internal floating pistons and all that other good stuff we were discussing inside for some serious performance. Same is true for the steering damper too. So this is a pretty serious bit of kit for a lift that isn't all that tall. As you might expect for something with all these kind of premium features, pricing will reflect that. Expect to pay about $1,500 for this kit. Again, making this a decidedly more premium option within the segment. If you want to play, you also gotta be willing to pay. And since this is a Roush kit, you know that a lot of research, time, and development has gone into making this work properly on your truck. So while you might be spending more than comparable kits of this height, you know you're gonna be getting the best performance possible for your money. Installation gets a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you around 4 hours to complete. This is a relatively straightforward installation. Everything is designed to fit on your truck without the need for additional permanent modifications. So your shocks are all just going to bolt right into place, your springs are going to pop right in as well, and the same with the steering damper too. So with some time and patience, this is a job you can tackle at home. However, as always with a lift kit, make sure your truck gets a proper alignment once you've got everything buttoned up. And to walk you through the installation process now, let's head on out to the shop.
For this install, you will need a puller, various impacts, various ratchets, an extension, 10, 13, 15, and in our case 16 and 18 millimeter sockets, 15 millimeter swivel socket, a 6 millimeter Allen socket, 19 and 22 millimeter wrenches, a 21 millimeter ratchet wrench, pair of pliers or vice grips. Also not shown here is some jacks and jack stands. What's up guys, today we're going to be installing a lift kit on our F250, but before we get started, we're going to send you to watch a quick video on how to remove your front suspension. We're also going to move to the rear after that, so we'll see you when you get back.
First thing we're going to do is make sure we have our truck secure and safe. I jacked it up. We have it on a lift right now, but I do have a jack underneath the center of the rear, which you're going to need to do after you get it jacked up and supported, however you're doing that. If you're doing this in your driveway, you're going to want to use jack stands. So what I did was I have it on the lift here. I have a jack under the center of the rear to hold the rear up, because we're going to be loosening the suspension up so we can drop the rear down so we can remove our coil springs. So you want to just make sure you jack it up high enough when you put your jack stands under. That way you can get your jack in the center of the rear. And then we'll start removing our suspension here. We'll start by removing our brake hose, our shock, our sway bar, and then we'll be able to take our jack and start lowering the rear down. So let's jump into this and we'll start removing our upper bracket here for our brake hose. So first thing we're going to do is remove this 13mm bolt here. I'm going to take my 3/8 gun with my 13mm socket, remove this bolt right here. And once we get that bolt out and removed, we'll be able to drop the brake hose down. And you're going to want to repeat this same procedure on the other side, because it's going to allow us that both sides are going to have to be undone so that we can drop the rear out. So now we're going to remove our shock bolt right down here. I'm going to take a breaker bar with an 18mm socket and break this loose. It is on there pretty tight. And once I get it loose, I will take my 3/8 gun with my 18mm on, get in place. And then I'll ratchet this the rest of the way out. I'm gonna take my 1/2" drive now with my 18mm on it and just ratchet this out the rest of the way. So now we have that out. You're going to want to repeat that procedure on the other side too. And now we'll go up to our sway bar. So now we're going to remove our sway bar nuts right here. There's one here and then one right here. I'm going to take my 15mm, my 3/8 gun, loosen these up, then loosen the other side up, then we'll drop the sway bar down. So now you're going to want to repeat that on the opposite side. So now I have the other side disconnected too. I'm just going to pull our sway bar down. You're going to want to be careful. This thing can be a little bit heavy, but it should just fall down just like that, which will allow our rear to drop down then. So now we're going to take our clip removal tool. We're going to pop off this clip here. This is going to allow the rear to hang down. It's kind of pulling tight on this already. So I'm just going to pop this off. Pretty much like that. Get that out of the way. And then our vent tube on our rear here, I'm just going to twist and pull up and remove that. That will allow our rear to hang down when we start letting the jack down. So now we have everything disconnected, our shock, our front sway bar links on both sides. I have my shock removed on that side. I unhooked our connectors here for our vent tube. Our brake lines are disconnected. We're going to be able to take our jack and just start lowering the rear down. That's going to loosen up these springs and let these springs come out, and then we'll remove our springs. So now we have our rear drop down. We're going to be able to easily grab our spring, pick it up, and remove it right out of the location. So now that I have our coil spring removed, we're just going to look at our pad down here and notice that there is a notch right here where my finger is. This notch is where when we put the coil spring back in, you're going to want to make sure that the bottom of the coil rests down inside here so that you don't want to have it spun around, because it is meant to seat in here so it doesn't spin. So just make sure when you put it back together, you put the bottom of the coil right into there. You'll see it fits right into that slot. So now we're going to remove our bump stop. I'm I'm gonna get up in here with a screwdriver, pry this baby out, like so. Now we're gonna remove our cup that holds the bump stop in. I'm gonna take my 10mm on my 3/8 gun, get up inside here. There's a nut, or a bolt, I should say, right here. We're gonna remove that. Now you're going to want to just repeat this uninstall procedure on the other side.
Alrighty guys, welcome back. Now that we have up to our spring out, we're also going to need to remove our front shock completely for our new kit. Now you have a 21mm nut holding the top of the strut in, so you'll need a 21mm ratchet wrench and possibly a thin wall 19mm wrench or a pair of vice grips. Now you can hold this, sometimes it will work, sometimes you do need the vice grips or the wrench. We do have ours already loosened up. You want to come in, get onto that nut, just loosen that up, and that'll pop out. You also want to make sure to grab your upper bushing and nut. We can set this aside, and then once you have this done on this side, you can do the same thing for the other side. Alrighty guys, so now we're ready to start installing our new setup. So we've got our new spring here, and we are gonna be reusing the upper factory isolator. So you just wanna pop that off. It just pulls out of your factory spring, and you'll notice a depression point for that top coil. You wanna line that up as it was. So we'll get this in place, line that top coil up, and you wanna push that in to your new spring. Make sure that seats fully. And once we have that in, we can install our spring. So now we'll take our spring, we'll get it onto our bottom pad, and we can twist that into place. There is a spot for your bottom coil to line up. May have to adjust this around a little bit to get there. Line the top of our spring up. Now, you'll notice with having our differential lowered, it does kind of kick it off center. So this is going to be a little bit torqued until we start to mate these back up. So we'll set this in place. You want to make sure this stays secure for now. We can install our new front shock. So now we can get our new shock installed into its upper mounting point. So we've got our new provided lock nut. We're going to take that upper washer and bushing off. We're going to set this into place through our factory mounting point. You want to reinstall your upper bushing and washer once you get that through, as well as your new lock nut. Put that on hand tight. Now once we get that in place, you'll need a 19mm wrench and a 6mm Allen bit or Allen wrench to hold the upper mounting shaft in place. Get this on. Get our Allen wrench into the center of the shaft. Now it's okay if it spins for now. Once you get to a point where it starts to get tight, I'll show you where it needs to land. So once that starts to grab with the lower bushing, make sure this comes around so your adjustment is at an accessible point. So you can have it out here. Alrighty guys, so now that we have our shock mounted at the top mounting point and our spring is lined up, if you're doing it on a lift like we are, you can lower the truck via the lift. However, if you're doing this at home on jack stands, you can use your jack to raise your differential back up. So we'll do that way now, bring this back up, and then we'll get our lower shock mounting bolt back in place. All right, so now we've got our differential raised up a bit and we've got our lower shock mount lined up. So we're gonna reinstall our factory 18mm bolt. And you may have to wiggle this around a little bit to get it to go back through. And once you have it all the way through, you need to back it up a little bit. We can reinstall that flag nut. We'll get that lined up. You just want to get that started. Now we'll grab our 18mm socket on our ratchet and tighten this back down. So now we're going to reinstall our brake line bracket. Now if you did uninstall your top one, you will need your 13mm socket and put that in place along with your clip. We have our lower one uninstalled, which is just a 10mm bolt. So we'll line that back up. Get that back in place. And we'll tighten that back down with our 10mm socket. So now once you have this to this point, you can do the same thing for the other side, and then we'll come back and reinstall our sway bar. Now we can reattach our sway bar, so we're going to get this back up into place on our 2 mounting studs for each side, and we'll reinstall our 15mm nuts. Now the trick of this is going to be to get both sides lined up evenly. Now that we have this lined up, we'll reinstall our 2 15mm nuts. We'll come back in and tighten those down with our 15mm socket. Now you do want to alternate your sides when tightening these as to bring your bracket up evenly. Now once you have this side on, you can repeat the same process for the other side. Alright guys, so now we're on to the rear of our truck. Now we've got it up in the air, got the wheels off. We also have a pole jack under the side of the rear differential that we're going to be swapping the shock out. This shock is held on by an 18mm bolt and a 21mm nut at the bottom, and then it has a single 18mm nut holding it onto its mounting stud up top on the frame. So we'll get in there with an 18mm socket on our impact and a 21mm wrench and get that off. So now we'll take our bottom mounting bolt off first. Now we'll get our top mounting nut off. You may need an extension for this one. Pop that off. Grab our shock. Work that off of our mounting stud. Now once you've got this side off, you can do the same thing for the other side. Now we can install our new rear shock. So we're going to start by getting our new one onto the upper mounting stud. I'll line that up. This might be a little bit snug, so you got to work that into place, just like so. And for now, we're going to loosely reinstall our mounting nut. We'll get our bottom mounting bolt in and come back and tighten everything down. Now we'll reuse and reinstall our factory mounting bolt for the bottom. Now you may need to compress your shock a little bit. We're going to get that on. They're pretty easy to push. Just make sure they line up in the cradle. Get our bolt in place. And once you get that through, you can reinstall your 21mm nut. I'll tighten that down with our 21mm wrench and 18mm socket. Now we'll tighten our top nut back down, again with our 18mm socket. Now once you have this side in place, you can repeat the same process for the other side. Alrighty guys, so this kit comes with a new steering stabilizer as well, so we're going to need to remove our factory one. Now it's held on by an 18mm nut on the set pin and a 15mm bolt on the other side. We're going to remove this nut first and get it out of its seat on our shaft. So we've got our 18mm socket on our impact. Pop that off. Now, sometimes these will come right out, sometimes they don't. So we're gonna need to work ours out, looks like. We're gonna tap on the end of our shaft with a hammer. All right, so if yours is giving you problems like ours is, we're gonna grab a puller. Get that locked on to our steering shaft. We're gonna get this in place, and this is going to push this out of the seat. Now you do want to be careful with these. This is going to be under pressure. So now for our puller in particular, we need a 16mm socket. Get that onto the end. Again, you want to exercise caution with this. Wear safety glasses, because this is going to be under pressure. Now that we've got that side out, we can remove our 15mm bolt. So we've got a 15mm swivel socket on our impact. We'll support our stabilizer and get this out. All right, so now we can install our new stabilizer. So we're gonna reuse our 15mm bolt on the mounting bracket side for our frame. We'll get this in place. We'll get that hand tight. Then we'll come over to our other side where we've got our bolt-on pivot pin, seat pin, and the non-tapered side is going to go up through our stabilizer. Then we can install our washer and our lock nut. Now you'll notice this is at full extension right now. You're going to need to compress this a little bit to get it in place. Get that hand tight. Remove the nut and washer on the tapered end that's going to go into our. I'll grab this. We're going to compress. So we're going to compress our stabilizer. Once we have this compressed, we'll get our tapered side through. Now we can install our flat washer and our lock nut. We're going to tighten this side down first and then come in and tighten our top, and then we'll tighten down our 15mm bolt. So now we'll tighten down our tapered side first with our 22mm wrench. This is a little bit snug, and our 19mm socket. Now we can come up top and tighten down our other 19mm nut, our 19mm wrench. You can use a ratchet wrench for this, or a regular box wrench. Now we'll bring back our 15mm swivel socket on our impact and tighten this 15mm bolt down. Now once you have everything installed, you want to make sure to torque all of your hardware down to the manufacturer recommended specifications. Alrighty folks, that about wraps up our review and install of our Roush 1.5 front suspension lift kit with Fox 2.0 shocks for your 17 to current F250 Super Duty, excluding the tremor. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything F250, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.